Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story is one that was requested in the comment section just a couple of days ago, asking to cover the new updates on a story that we covered 2 years ago it was. So, as always, if you want to skip certain parts of it, the timestamps are down in the description, along the timeline below. Feel free to use them. That's what they're there for. And let's crack on with it. Much love, guys. So, the story came from Present Hope 4502 from the TrueOffMyChest subreddit. And it said, "My husband is cheating on me with my best friend." I'm honestly not sure where to start, so I guess I'll just start. My husband and I have been dating since I was 19 and he was 22. We've been married for 6 years now. We have 2 kids and I'm 6 months pregnant with our third. 2 years ago, I found out my dad has stage 3 colon cancer. My dad is my only parent as my mum passed away when I was 12. He's my favorite human and life without him doesn't seem as colorful. His laugh is contagious and he gives these big bear hugs that seem to make all of your broken pieces feel like they're perfectly in place again. Whenever I've had a hard day, he doesn't poke and prod, he just lets me vent and listens. About 5 months ago, we discovered the treatments aren't working for him. An indirect quote of the doctor, he said, "Months, not years." Since then, he's gotten progressively worse and now is losing memory. He looked at the dog he got me for my 21st birthday and said, "Wow, that's a nice dog. Where'd you get it?" My husband has been my absolute rock. He's been there for me, holding my hand and helping me through this. He's been so loving and attentive to both my kids and I. Don't get me wrong, I'm a mother first always. I don't allow myself to wallow. My kids are still loved, cared for, played with, and I haven't let my load slack around the house. Once my dad got his updated prognosis, my husband encouraged me to quit my job. About a month later, we discovered we were pregnant again, and I still hadn't let go of my job. I kept holding out for some reason. After finding out I was pregnant again, he ensured me it was still okay to quit my job. That honestly, it would save us a small fortune on daycare costs anyway, so I did. I quit my job. My best friend and I have been friends since diapers. Her family is like my family and vice versa. My mum and her mum grew up together. We've always been solid, and right after my dad's appointment when we found out he had so little time left, I drove straight to her house and she held me while I cried for hours. If there are soulmates in friend form, she was mine. Thick as thieves is what my mum used to say. This morning, as I was up with my 3-year-old, he's sick. My husband's work alarm was going off. He has a few sets, so I turned that one off and gently woke him up. He said he was up late working, so he took the morning off, rolled over and went back to sleep. As I went to turn off the remainder of his alarms, I saw a text from my friend on his lock screen that said, "I'm assuming since there hasn't been an angry pregnant lady on my doorstep, you haven't told her about us yet." Time froze in that moment. I took his phone and walked away and just read their conversations. 4 months this man has been fucking my best friend. 4 months these people have been lying to my face. And I know what you're going to say. You should have seen the warning signs. But I've been clutching this phone in my hand for 2 hours and nothing. He's been so loving and attentive to me, but he always has been. So kind and gentle. There have been no late night work nights except for once in a blue moon. There's been no lingering touches between them or even glances. They act as they have since the first day I introduced them. How sick is it that she calls him her brother, but she screws him? I know so many people get a moment of clarity in situations like this, but I have none. Aside from being sad about my dad, I haven't changed. I'm still a loving wife and mother. I doted on him and my children. I talked to him about how he is doing and how was his day every freaking day. I haven't allowed the ground to swallow me whole. I know what I have to do now, but I just don't want to. I'm about to lose my family and my support system in one blow. I'll confront him tomorrow. Today, I just need this last 24 hours of peace. As for her, I won't give her the satisfaction of a response. I don't care why she did it. She did it and it's done. I was always the friend who cleaned up her messes. After today, I will cut her out of my life like she never mattered at all. This has to be the hardest storm I'll ever weather, but damn it, I know I'll sail through it. If not for me, my children. So a quick overview of the comments was all the usual stuff about lawyers and all that good stuff, getting your ducks in a row basically. Then OP came in with their first update and said, "Hello everyone, I'm here with a much awaited update. For my typing's sake, I'm going to give everyone fake names. So for context, mother-in-law and father-in-law Ruth and Joe, ex-BFF parents Angie and Bob, ex-BFF Jess, soon to be ex-Tyler, ex-BFF's brother Jake. And I'll just refer to my dad as Dad. I have a few things I want to get through, so I'll just summarize as best as I can, and if you have any questions, I'll answer in the comments. To get this out of the way, because to me it feels important. Yesterday I scheduled a same-day appointment with my obgyn and got tested for just about every STD and STI out there. I got the results for most back and they were all negative. There's a few that take up to 2 weeks to get the results back for, so I'll be waiting on those. When I met with my lawyer, I brought everything on my end financially wise, including the wills from both my dad and my mum, and I managed to get my hands on his financial documents. He stores his in his office in a locked box. I also brought over everything we had set up financially for my children. While I'm not totally sure if it's everything, I'm pretty confident I got most of it. My lawyer was happy I managed to get my hands on that much. Ruth even handed over a will to me from both her and Bob to ensure I was taken care of in the divorce. My lawyer understands I'm wanting a divorce immediately. However, she wants to make sure she is thorough and isn't missing any key info. So hopefully I'll have an actual divorce papers to give him in about 30 days. I'm not rushing her though, letting the professional do her job. Now for the sit down. I asked Angie and Ruth to describe everything in detail on what happened. Angie, the revenge seeker that she is, forced them to sit through a slideshow she put together of all the texts. I know a lot of you were concerned about one of them telling them sooner than later, but they were so secretive that they didn't even tell their significant others about what was happening. Once the slideshow ended, Tyler tried lunging for Jess and Joe actually had to force him to sit down. Tyler was shouting profanities at Jess and telling her she will regret this. Jess started crying and begging her parents for forgiveness. Bob looked at his daughter in the eye and told her he will never forgive her for this. Blood or not, she is no daughter of his. He didn't raise his daughter to be this person. Jess was always a daddy's girl, so I think that cut her pretty deep. Jess is in the middle of a divorce herself, and her parents were giving her money for a lawyer, and they told her she is cut off from them both financially and physically. Tyler's dad was irate. According to Ruth, he looked like he was holding back on throttling him. From there, Tyler went straight home. I know because we have a Ring doorbell camera along with a few cameras in the house for our kids to keep an eye on them when we aren't right next to them. Tyler came home and saw that most of mine and the kids' stuff was gone and he lost it. Started yelling and throwing things. The house is now trashed with a few holes in the walls for decoration. When he didn't find us there, he went to my dad's. While I did spend most of the day, he was at work packing and moving things into my dad's house. We were already at his cabin. Tyler took a baseball bat to my dad's door, trying and failing to break it down. My dad's neighbor actually called the cops on him and he was arrested. His parents refused to bail him out. I had an appointment with my therapist today. I've had one for a year now since I was struggling with my dad, and it felt good to just cry it out and let everything out about how I was feeling. It was very helpful and she gave me a few tools to work through my emotions with this one. I felt very grounded and empowered leaving my session today. I'm also planning on setting up my children with a therapist when we get back from the cabin to figure out the best way to deal with telling them. I know people said I shouldn't, but I will be telling them, just in an age-appropriate way. I don't want there to be secrets and lies between us. I've always been as open and honest as I can with them, again in the most kid-appropriate way. Just because they're small humans, they're still humans and still deserve the truth. I had a handful of comments telling me that I should stay and every man cheats. I should work things out because most of our marriage was good. I refuse to believe all men cheat. My parents were married for 20 years and after my mum passed, my dad never moved on. I watched my dad love my mum for 12 of those years and cherish her. I will not accept anything less than that kind of love. He never cheated, nor did she, but I'm not sure when I'll be ready to move on. Falling in love is the absolute last thing on my mind at the moment. I refuse to let Tyler win and destroy love for me completely. I will move on from this. Jess started blowing up my phone demanding I fix this situation and immediately blaming me. My lawyer told me not to block texts just in case they spill out an additional info I was missing. She was playing the poor me card very hard. The thing is though, I never influenced Angie and Bob to cut contact with their daughter. They made that choice on their own. She actually started blaming me for stealing the love of her life. I introduced them when Tyler and I started dating, so not sure where that came from. And that Tyler is only with me for the kids. Honestly, I knew she was just trying to hurt me at that point. I didn't give her the satisfaction of responding though. Between her and Tyler, I have about 200 missed calls. Tyler went from begging and pleading me to forgive him. Like I said, I didn't have divorce papers to hand him, so he's stuck in this unknown grey area. I also asked Angie and Ruth to not say anything about the divorce to him yet, purely just for my satisfaction, honestly. I know it's slightly petty, but keep him in that grey area of not knowing is my small revenge to him. They're threatening to call the cops on me for kidnapping, telling me Jess wasn't the only one. Bingo, just what I was looking for. They're telling me I'm a stuck-up bitch, to threatening me to begging me for forgiveness. Honestly, it was just a whiplash reading those texts. I'd be lying in saying that those texts didn't hurt me and terrify me all at once, but I refuse to let them break me. As for both of them together, I don't think he's going to stay with her. I think he blames her for blowing up our marriage, honestly. Who knows though, they deserve each other. I was initially okay to do a 50-50 split with Tyler for custody, but after his reaction, I don't feel comfortable with that, so I'll likely be going for full custody. Jake has about 30 days of leave he saved up, and he's going to be using them to help the kids, and I get settled at my dad's house, and honestly, to be there in case Tyler tries showing up going crazy again. He's been such a big help to the kids and I lately, I'm forever in his debt. Last night after the kids went to bed, he hooked up his Xbox and we played a game called Diablo 4 together to help me take my mind off things. It was fun. However, he did sort of confess that he's always had feelings for me somewhere in the midst of things. He also told me to not say or do anything back. He understands a relationship or anything like that isn't on my mind and won't be for a while. He isn't wrong, but just that he felt that way since we were teenagers and just wanted to get it off his chest. Thank you again. Seriously. Your comments, your support, your messages, all of it is one giant breath of fresh air. Just knowing I have a whole online community willing to go to bat for me has kept me treading water these last couple of days. Your comments have popped in my head when I felt like just giving up on leaving him because it's so hard and gave me so many great points and helpful advice. I know I deserve more and I can't accept his actions. And to the people who commented relating to my situation, my heart goes out to you all. The pain is awful, and I hate that so many of you can relate, but your stories have resonated deep within me. You all keep commending me for my strength, and my personal favorite is telling me how proud of me you are. Every time I see those words, I start to tear up. I'm blaming the pregnancy hormones, but your words have helped me put me at ease, so that way I could do what I knew I needed to do. So I'll leave this here for now. If anything of importance happens when I go back home, I'll update further. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Opie added in the comments saying, "Hi everyone, I know a lot of people are still asking for an update. Not much has happened, but here are the things that have happened. Tyler discovered the post and asked me if I was seeking a divorce. I said I was. He apologized for losing his cool, asked if there was any hope for reconciliation. I said no. We did have a conversation about the kids and he'll be allowed to see them with supervision, to which he agreed to. I had another meeting with my lawyer. Nothing of major importance happened. Nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, has happened with Jake. He didn't take back his confession, but as I said, it's on the back burner for a long while. My kid's health and well-being take priority over all else. My dad's health is on a steady decline. He's now in the hospital with no release date in the immediate future. Please send over thoughts and well wishes his way. My kids are adjusting well. We have a therapy appointment for them scheduled next week to help them. My oldest has more questions than the rest, but I'm trying to save any big conversations for the therapy appointment, so I know I'm conveying the answers in a meaningful and the least harmful way. Also, my oldest made tryouts for the traveling soccer league. Oh, and the baby is doing great. Things have calmed down a lot, truly. I feel like I have a better grip on things. I've been putting most of my focus on my dad and kids to keep myself busy. Thank you friends for the love, support, and for checking in." So people recovered a user called Jess/Jade's comment, which was OKConcentrate2456. The account was deleted, but it's suspected that it was the best friend, who says, "I was hoping it wasn't you when I saw this on TikTok, but obviously it is you, OP. I told you to break up with him. I told you Tobias was in love with me. You refused to listen. I told you my husband left me because he was cheating, but it was because Toby told me we could run away together and we could be together. You ruined everything, and now he won't speak to me. You need to clean your mess up instead of posting on socials being a pathetic piece of shit. You're unbelievable. Did you think I wouldn't see this and find out? I hope you miscarry." Oof. OP did respond saying, "You told me to break up with him when I was 19 and you were engaged to another man. You never said why. You never said anything about him, because if you did, I never would have been married and you would have been cut out sooner. Also, no, I put fake names in the post to protect your identities, but if you want to blast yourself to the public, that's your choice, not mine." That comment to OP is just absolutely vile, and it says everything about that so-called friend, right? But about a month later, OP comes in with another update and says, "Hey everyone, I'm still getting daily messages and comments for an update, so here is what could possibly be my final one." It's not. My dad passed away about a week after my last update. I knew it was coming, but it still feels like a gut punch. Thank you for everyone who kept him in your thought, truly. My marriage has officially ended. Once Tyler, I believe that's the fake name I assigned to him, please don't call me out on it if it's not, it's been a while, discovered just how serious I was about leaving him, he became compliant and was willing to give me everything I asked for in the divorce. So my lawyer opted for a dissolution versus divorce. This process is a lot quicker and went smoothly. As of right now, I have full custody while he works out his anger management and whatnot with therapy. I'm not sure if I'll ever trust him again with the kids, but I'm also in therapy as well on my kids. I'm not making any decisions at all right now when it comes to that. He gets supervised visits at a facility where there is an army of staff and security and someone is there at all times. That's once a week. And he does get video calls twice a week. The kids are adjusting pretty well. There are days when I think it affects them more, but they suffered some big losses, so it's to be expected. I did decide to give the baby my dad's first name though. It just felt right. But baby is doing so very well and is thriving despite the amount of stress I've had going on. I miss my dad like crazy, and I'm still trying to figure out how to exist in a world where he doesn't. The grief is still so very heavy. I'm still mourning my marriage as well. I don't regret leaving him, but it still hurts me deeply. However, I'm picking up the pieces and making my life whole without him. My mother-in-law, well, ex-mother-in-law now I guess, I don't know, it still feels weird, and Angie helped me out so much. They've really allowed me to lean on them in these moments, whether it be taking the kids for a little while or cooking dinner for us when I don't have the energy. I truly am so lucky to have them. And finally, to what you've all been waiting to hear about, Jake. Jake is now back in California. He tried extending his leave, but the military said no. It was wonderful having him there and helping me. In the first few days after my dad's passing, he picked up so much slack for me that I will truly never be able to repay him for it. He's so patient and kind. That being said, nothing has happened between us, though he did hold me while I broke down after the kids went to bed a few times, but that's the extent of it. No kissing or anything like that. He does call me and text me multiple times a day. Right now, I just don't have any room in my life for romance. I have so much grief, and the weight of being a single mum has been heavy. He hasn't pushed me on it either. He let me know that he meant every word he said and that he's willing to just be my friend until I decide I want more, if I ever decide I want more with him. I wish I could be the girl that jumps in with both feet, but the betrayal from my ex is still fresh and I'm worried I would burn anything out before it started. So I asked for friends and time to process everything else in my life before I even consider processing a new relationship. He happily agreed. Oh, and Tyler and Jess are not a couple. Most of you were right. He left her high and dry. Though I don't wish misery on anyone. I'd be lying if I didn't say I get the smallest amount of satisfaction that her life went up in smoke. She's been blacklisted from her family. And I know a lot of you said it's weird that her parents did that, but if you guys knew just how deep my bond went with that family, it wouldn't seem weird at all. Angie is like my surrogate mum. She gave me the safe sex talk, the period talk. She listened to me cry about the boys who broke my heart. She held my hand while I delivered my kids. When she talks about me, she calls me a daughter. She knew my mum for practically her whole life. She held my mum's hand when she delivered me, and if anything had happened to both of my parents, she is who I'd gone to live with. My parents had that in their will. So with all that being said, please just be kind to me in the comments. I put this off for a few days because of how hostile some people were, and the prospect of being called a liar doesn't sound too appealing at the moment. Again, I can't thank you for the amount of light and love I've received from you. I promise I read every comment and message, I just haven't had the capacity to respond. You've really helped me brighten my days with all of your words of encouragement. I appreciate you all, and I'm so lucky to have an army of internet friends. You guys are the best. This is it for now. I probably won't post anything else for a while. I'm still trying to find my footing and I'm trying to get settled in a new routine before I bring a brand new baby into the world. I may come back to this, but I may not, though I do promise I'll update if anything happens with Jake and I. Lol. I know so many of you became invested. P.S. Please excuse any typos. Pregnancy insomnia is kicking my ass right now. Within the same post, Opie added a comment saying, just wanted to come back for a small update. Baby is here. He was born slightly premature, but no NICU stay, pronounced it correctly that time, was needed. He was 5 pounds 9 ounces and 19 inches and absolutely beautiful. Angie was in the room with me when I had him, while mother-in-law stayed with the other littles. My older two are obsessed with their baby brother, and it makes my heart happy. Mother-in-law and Angie are taking turns spending the night and days with me for the first 6 weeks until we get acclimated. I told them they didn't have to, but they insisted. Honestly, I'm grateful for it. I can feel the waves of PPD trying to drag me under, and my mental health really hasn't been doing so good. Don't worry, my therapist knows and we're working through it. Knowing that this baby never gets to know and feel the love of my dad has been really hurting, and the fact that this is the only grandbaby he didn't get to meet. I miss him like crazy and wish he was still here. Jake was planning on staying in for another 2 years to retire, but they offered him early retirement, not because anything going on with me or this whole situation. There was a situation at work. He didn't do anything wrong, lol. So within the next 6 months, he'd be moving back home. He's going to try house hunting and find a place before he comes home, but since he isn't allowed to take any leave during this time to view places, since he has to work on his exit stuff, there's a chance he'll be temporarily living with me until he finds a place. No, he isn't moving in permanently. He might even just get an apartment for a year and then buy a house. There's also some drama with Tyler already because he's pissed I wouldn't let him in the room when I had baby. So if you want any more updates on that front, I'll provide when I'm not overwhelmed. Love you all. Thank you all for being my ear when I needed to vent and get everything off my chest. Hope all of your days are wonderful today and everything goes your way. Until next time, friends. Opie comes in with a post saying answers to a few common questions and a small update. Hey everyone, I can't believe it's been almost 2 months since I updated you all. I've missed chatting, but life has been keeping me very busy. Does Tyler's parents still talk to him? No. My mother-in-law cut him off almost instantly and went no contact. Father-in-law is very low contact and only speaking with him when he takes the kids to their supervised visits to see him. Next question, did Tyler cheat on you with more than just Jess? To my knowledge, there was only one other girl, which if you click on my comments and scroll a little, you'll see me briefly explain the situation. If there are any more than that, it's not to my knowledge and I honestly think I prefer to not know. Question, aren't you concerned about Jake and Jess being in contact with one another still? They are siblings after all. Says, Jake and Jess never had a good relationship. They were very, very low contact before any of this came out. They never got along as kids and the relationship never changed as they got older. Looking back on it, it was a major red flag how she treated him. They only ever spoke as adults at family functions, and even then was brief and only surface level conversations. Next question. What all are you telling your children? You should let them process how they need to. Opie says, the only one who is old enough to semi-understand what's happening is my oldest. I sat both of them down and simply said, Mummy and Daddy aren't together anymore. Daddy did some things that I wasn't okay with. That means Daddy won't live with us anymore, but you can still see him, spend time with him and love him with all your heart. It might be a little confusing and that's okay, but it's important to know that we both love you guys so much and that will never change. Then asked if they wanted to talk about it at all or if they had any questions about the situation. My oldest had a few and I answered in an honest but age-appropriate and gentle manner. They're still in therapy. They come to me if they want to talk about it, but if not, I don't push it on them. My goal in this has never been to weaponize and poison the kids against him. It's something I will never do. He's their dad and I refuse to traumatize them any more than they have been. People were saying, do you have a Venmo, registry or PO box, etc.? Opie says I'm warmed by your thoughtfulness and kindness, however I cannot accept any of it. You are truly beautiful humans for being so willing to help me. However, I ask you give those donations to your local shelters. I have a rather large inheritance and an amazing support system, but if I wasn't so fortunate, I could have very well been one of the girls who had to take refuge at a shelter. I've been making donations to shelters near me and my kids, and I have been volunteering at a few. On to the update. So if you read any of my previous comments, you know that baby boy is here. He's honestly been the calmest newborn that I've ever managed. Hardly cries, is very content and happy all the time. He's been reaching all of his milestone markers, even hitting the ones that aren't on the preemie scale. It's been such a relief and a blessing. The older two completely adore him and are of course eating up the extra attention they get from their grandparents. Yes, Angie and her husband are called Grandma and Grandpa as well. When I went into labor, I told Tyler that I was in labor, but I didn't want him at the hospital. It is his kid, so I was being courteous. He blew up on me for taking away his right to see his child being brought into the world. I simply turned off my phone to relax and de-stress. He actually showed up at the hospital and had to be escorted off the property by security. Not for being violent or anything, he just wouldn't leave after I had told the nurses I delivered at the hospital I work at, I'm a registered nurse, I didn't want him around. After that, he hasn't been to a single visit to see the kids. I initially sent him pictures of the baby and updates, but he never responded and eventually blocked my number. After roughly a month, I asked my father-in-law to reach out to him since no one had heard from him. My father-in-law actually showed up at Tyler's house to do a wellness check since I was concerned something was wrong. Even though I don't love him anymore, there is a piece of me that will always care for him as the father of my children. Turns out he has a new girlfriend and just isn't interested in being a dad anymore. He actually even denied paternity, even though he's the only person I've ever been with physically. The kids are honestly and surprisingly okay with him not being around. No, I didn't feel it necessary to tell them the harsh things he said. Jake has been completely amazing. He had my favorite food delivered to me at the hospital post-birth, FaceTiming me and texting me regularly, chatting it up with the kids. Hasn't been pushy on me at all. He has let me set the pace completely. Hasn't crossed any of my boundaries in the slightest. He actually booked me a surprise postnatal massage and arranged all of it, including childcare. It was the most relaxed I've felt in months. He sends little gifts and food to the house occasionally, especially on my hard days. Jake has truly been a breath of fresh air. He comes home in just over 3 months, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited. As for me, I've still been regularly attending therapy. It's really helped me cope and just in general become a better person and mother. I'm still devastated by my dad's passing, and grief really loves to put a chokehold on me when I least expect it. Sometimes I just go and sit in his office where it smells the most like him and cry. I was very blessed to have such a loving and amazing dad. Angie and mother-in-law have truly been angels on earth. I cannot express how beyond lucky I am to have this amazing support system. Even father-in-law and Angie's husband have been insanely supportive and kind. I'd be lost without their unconditional love and support. As crazy as it sounds, I'm honestly unbothered by the divorce and Tyler not being around anymore. I think I'm more relieved than anything. My heart aches for my children, but I don't know. I don't think I truly realized how long I was holding my breath and walking on eggshells in that marriage until I was in a space where I didn't have to anymore. My therapist and I really dug deep and took off the rose-colored glasses. In a weird yet awful way, I'm almost thankful I caught him cheating. I think that's why I was so calm and methodical during the leaving him phase. I go back to work next week. I think I'm ready to find my new normal and get back into a routine. While my heart aches, my dad isn't around to see it. I'm ready to unlock this next chapter of my life. Cheers to the chapter of healing, self-love, new beginnings, and finding peace within the chaos. Thank you for going through this journey with me, supporting me, sharing your stories with me, and just being here. Love you all, internet friends. Hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll update again when I can. Opie added just a post saying, Jake surprised me early and said Merry Christmas everyone, or whatever you celebrate. May you have an absolute wonderful holiday or just day to day. Jake woke me up this morning with my kids shouting, Santa came and brought Uncle Jake with him. He's home for good and I'm over the moon with happiness. May you all have a blessed and wonderful day. Love you, friends. Within that post, Opie adds a comment about Tyler below saying Tyler has my number and all of my social media blocked. His new girlfriend thinks I want him, despite me never having met her in person and only texting him about the kids. If he'd strayed the conversation away from them, I'd redirect back to the kids or simply ignore his text. His dad has reached out to him and offered to be the middleman for communication so he isn't completely abandoning his children, but that isn't good enough, I guess. He's still bitter that they spend time with me and the kids and thinks since we're divorced his parents should cut all ties with me, but his parents refuse to do so. His mum still won't talk to him. His dad only talks to him and tries to get him to see the kids, but he won't bite. Tyler hasn't seen the kids since Halloween or beginning of November, I believe. I'd have to double check my text to fact check that, but it was around that time. No phone calls to anyone to ask how they're doing or anything. Though he did shoot Jake a message on Facebook or some social media platform that Jake will never be their dad and I'll always be used goods, which I thought was comical. The kids have stopped asking about him truthfully. I don't push the topic on them either, but always let them know if they have any questions or want to talk about it. I'm always here. I don't prod or poke in their therapy sessions, but express concern to their therapist about how they never talk about him disappearing because, especially my oldest, I didn't want them bottling up those emotions. All she said was they have good conversations about their feelings about their dad, and that's all I wanted to know. Just to know that they're talking to someone about it. They did have an amazing Christmas. I allowed myself to really spoil them just this once with everything they wanted and then some. A little bit of that mum guilt eating at me, unfortunately. But they had a genuinely good day. Jake really stepped up for them today too. Of course, Angie and her husband, mother-in-law and father-in-law were at the house today too. It felt nice. Hope you all had a great day today as well. Thank you for thinking of me. Opie then adds a post saying, "Hey guys. Hey friends, I come bearing some much anticipated news, but I'm going to breeze over a few things other people wanted to know before we get into the Jake update. A lot of people are wondering if Tyler is still to this day not seeing the kids. He isn't. He no longer responds to his dad who's trying to be the middleman, so he didn't have to communicate with me. He told his dad that his girlfriend made him choose and he's choosing her because I wouldn't go through her to communicate with him. Mind you, I don't even know who she is. I don't even know her first name. That's how much I don't know about her. I told him if he wanted to use a third party to communicate about the kids, I would be completely okay with that, but not someone who is a stranger to me or the kids. We could use his aunt who has remained neutral during the divorce and all of this. It wasn't good enough for him or her, I guess, so he decided to cut all contact. He didn't see the kids for Christmas or New Year. Shortly after the New Year is when he went full no contact. I'm managing the kids and working full time as best as I can. I'm so grateful for all the help I have. My mother-in-law and Angie take turns watching the kids while I work, as they're both retired. More often than not, I come home to a clean house, happy kids and dinner on the stove. They truly are the biggest blessings. I'm giving a huge shout out to the single parents who do this completely on their own with no help from outsiders or other parents, because I cannot fathom how much strength you've had to muster to do it alone. I've had quite a few people ask me if I'm religious. The answer is yes. I'm a religious person, however, I will not now nor ever judge anyone for who they are. Yes, that includes the girls, gays and theys, the people who were born in the wrong body. No one should ever be able to tell you who you are or who you love is wrong. I support and love everyone in all walks of life. You matter. Your religion or non-religion matters, even if it's not the same one I follow. Hell, I have friends who practice witchcraft and I love that they're so passionate about it and it makes them happy. I absolutely love that for them. But people who are taking away women's rights or rights of the LGBT community in the name of religion make me absolutely disgusted. I feel like I needed that disclaimer to be added because I don't want anyone to rope me into that category. I'll also not be entertaining any religious debates. Argue with your mother, not me. Finally, on to Jake. We're dating currently. I use air quotes because we've been going on dates and spending time together but aren't officially boyfriend and girlfriend, if that makes sense. He did kiss me for the first time at midnight on New Year's. Cheesy? Yes. Did I still love it? Absolutely. I'm not ready to offer anything more right now. We have the occasional date night out, but a lot of our dates include things with the kids like movie nights, going to the park, spending time at the house playing with them. The kids adore him and he adores them right back. I have quite a few pictures of him holding the baby, trying to soothe him to sleep, and he winds up accidentally napping with the baby. He's allowing me to completely set the pace. He's patient with me at all times. I honestly feel so lucky. I told Jake if he wanted to date other people he could, and he looked at me like I'd slapped him and was adamant I'll be the only woman he'd pursue. Sometimes I feel guilty that he's healing a heart he didn't break, but he never hesitates to remind me that he's in this completely and will wait forever if he has to. I waited so long to share this because I wanted his stamp of approval to continue to share what is quickly evolving into our love story. I allowed him to read my posts and everyone's comments. He might have gotten a little bit of a big head with how much everyone is Team Jake. He pokes fun at me for it, and I love it honestly. This man is so funny without ever being mean. He even said it's a breath of relief to know your internet family approves of me. He did create a Reddit account to look at my posts with my approval. He'll most likely be a silent follower, but don't be surprised if he pops up in the comments occasionally. Hope everyone has an amazing day. We'll talk soon. So a commenter below this one said, please tell me Tyler is at the very least paying child support to care for the kiddos. How are they handling not having Tyler around? Opie says he wasn't initially, but I spoke with a family lawyer right after the holidays and they said one of the best ways to get full custody and terminate parental rights is to put him on child support. If he doesn't pay for it and doesn't ask about the kids or isn't contacted about the kids for a full year, it'd be labeled as abandonment. And therefore, after I go to court to pursue those charges, he wouldn't be able to just pop up one day and decide he wants to take me to court for full custody one day when he decides he's ready to play Father of the Year. However, after 90 days, we can get the paperwork rolling to start the process of abandonment and whatnot. The lawyer explained it better than I'm able to, obviously, but it was something along those lines. I highly doubt he'll pay it though. He found out about my inheritance from my mum and dad through the dissolution, and he seemed pissed. They had all of this money and he wasn't getting any of it. If he does pay, it'd be going straight into a savings account for the kids, and they'll have access to it when they become an adult. The kids seem fine. They're still in therapy and I continue to take them until they tell me they feel like they no longer need it. If the therapist feels the same, then I'll no longer take them. They don't really ask about him much at all. They did ask on Christmas if they'd be seeing him, but when I gently told them he wasn't coming, they seemed unaffected. I haven't asked about him since. I've been feeling like maybe he wasn't as good with them when I had my back to him because they have just accepted it and seemed genuinely okay with it. Next one OP comes in with was titled 1 year later, almost. Hey guys, can you believe that in less than 2 weeks it's been a year since I made my first post on Reddit the morning I discovered my ex-husband's affair? I just want to say thank you to everyone who has supported me on this journey. You've been such a blessing, whether it's for advice, kind words, or just a listening ear. I'm so lucky to have developed my own little community here on Reddit. Now, onto some updates. The Jake update will be at the end of the post if you want to skip to read that first. I know you're a feral for it. First things first. I meant to update sooner, but if you saw Jake's comment, you know I was locked out of my account. Well, someone changed the password to my Reddit account, and then the email to it as well. You'll never guess who it was. If you guessed Tyler, you'd be wrong. It was Jess. Let's rewind about a month ago. I'm cooking dinner for Jake and the kids while Jake is playing in my backyard with the kids. Our front door opens and I figured it was one of my in-laws. They don't usually drop by unexpectedly, but Angie and mother-in-law, totally forgot the fake name I assigned to her, both have a key to my house since they help me out so much. It's just easier that way. Imagine my surprise when I'm chopping up carrots to see Jess waltz into my kitchen. I simply pointed the knife at the door and told her to get the hell out of my house before I called the cops and pressed charges for breaking and entering and trespassing. I wasn't concerned with how she got into my house. I keep my doors locked 24/7. Call it paranoia if you will. I just wanted her out and would figure the rest out later. She started screaming bloody murder and was calling me psycho for threatening her with a knife. Jake heard the screams and rushed inside. His immediate response was to restrain Jess because he thought she was hurting me, even though he was a solid 10 to 15 feet between us. He dragged her out of the house and told her to leave. She was screaming that she would ruin my life, and all she was coming over to do was ask for forgiveness. Well, she called the cops on us and made up this elaborate story about how we lured her to my house to set her up, how I tried to stab her and Jake was punching her repeatedly. She had zero proof and I have cameras hitting every angle of the outside of my house and in all the main rooms and the inside of my house. Naturally, I just pulled up the footage and showed the cops and they left, taking her with them. Jake has spent the night at my house every night since then. Since then, she has hacked into every single last one of my social media accounts, including Reddit. She posted some truly awful and hateful things on my Facebook and Instagram. I'm thankful she didn't manage to post anything on Reddit before I got it back. She spammed my job. I'm a nurse at our local hospital with complaints and some truly awful fabricated stories about me. After a week of suspension to investigate, I was welcomed back after everything I told my boss and my boss's boss, HR, and everyone else above me proved to be true. I filed for a restraining order against her and my children when she tried to pick up my oldest from her school without anyone's knowledge. Thankfully, I'd already talked with the school about this and gave them a strict, only these people can pick up my child. Everyone else you send away, call the cops or whatever you need to do. When Tyler got violent in front of the kids a while back, they escorted her off school grounds and kept her very close by for pickup until they saw me. Right now, I got an emergency order approved, but we'll have to go to court for a more permanent one within the next month, so I'll let you know how that goes. She must have had a key from me when we were growing up together or something because Angie and her husband have not spoken to her, nor has she had access to them or their home. I got the locks changed immediately. The Tyler update is there is none. He still hasn't reached out to see his kids, hasn't asked about them. He's been a ghost. We were eating dinner with Jake about a week ago when my oldest quietly said she wished Jake was her dad and that her real dad never played with them and was really mean when I wasn't home or looking, which really just confirmed my fears. They were too accepting of him being gone and now I know why. I did learn through the grapevine, mother-in-law and father-in-law, that he is already remarried and has another kid on the way. Mother-in-law told me they got a baby shower and wedding invite in the mail. Honestly, I feel bad for the new wife. The kids are truly just wonderful. Still in therapy, but the therapist has nothing but positive things to say after their sessions now. She did mention that my oldest brought up calling Jake dad, but I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. Jake has made it clear that once, yes he said once, not if, but once, we're married, he fully intends to adopt the kids. But that is another conversation for another day. I don't want to deter her from having a bond with him, but it still feels too soon, you know. My middle child seems to have forgotten Tyler completely and is my usual ray of sunshine. I've seriously never met a happier kid. The baby is babbling away, smiling and laughing now. Can you all believe it? I'm truly blessed with such wonderful kids. Jake, well, Jake is Jake. You know how that goes. No, seriously, I've never felt such happiness before. He was genuinely concerned at how many people were commenting, asking if we were still together, and told me, you better update right now and tell them we're still together. I wish you guys could hear just how funny he truly is. I officially allowed him to give me the title of girlfriend, though he says I've been his girlfriend practically this whole time. He's been sleeping over essentially every night. He says it's under the guise of being worried Jess might show back up, but secretly I think it's because he hates being away from the kids. Whenever he's at work or anywhere that isn't my house, he will text whoever is with the kids asking for picture updates of them and expresses how much he misses them. It's actually really sweet. He's been allowing me to set the pace still, just also helping give me a nudge when I need it. He's attended a few of my therapy sessions with me to help get a better understanding of what I need from him in terms of this relationship. Jake is honestly just everything I could have asked for. I'm lucky to love him. As always, thanks for being here. Until next time, friends. So a commenter was questioning OP about what the bloody hell is Jess up to, and OP says all of her other friends dropped her when they discovered she wrecked not one, not two, not even 3 or 4, but 5 marriages since Tyler and I's divorce. They were kinda like not my husband or boyfriend. I genuinely don't understand her thought process. I think she somehow managed to knock a few screws loose, or she's just desperate for attention. According to Tyler's best friend, who ultimately took my side once he learned the truth of our divorce, his ex-wife cheated, he told me Jess actually tried befriending the new wife to get close to Tyler. Once Tyler saw who the new wife was talking to, he told her to block Jess, and Jess also showed up at their house begging for Tyler back. Funny that she's good enough to screw our marriage up over, but not good enough to keep around. Man logic, I guess. OP comes in with an update called Court Update. Hey guys, I'm making this one quick and easy since it's my first break I've had from life and a busy schedule in weeks. I had my restraining order court date. If you're confused, read my last update, and while I didn't get approved for a permanent restraining order, I did obtain a 7-year one. Apparently in my state it's really hard to get a permanent restraining order unless I have tangible proof it's life or death. Everything I had on Jess wasn't enough for permanent, however I'm still content with this outcome. If she happens to still be a bother during or after the 7-year restraining order, I can take her back to court and have her arrested. With that being said, I think I'm letting the talks and questions about Jess die here. I love involving you all about every aspect of my life. However, I don't want her to try and use anything I say about her, even if it's under a false name and protected identity, to say that I've been breaking the restraining order. Jake, the kids and I decided that since he spends so much time at my house and his place is essentially a storage unit, that he would be moving in. And before anyone has anything to say about it being too fast, please know I've known Jake my entire life. That's not exaggerating. I've literally known him my entire life. I'm comfortable and confident in this choice. Tyler is still a ghost and still has made 0 contact attempts. The kids are beautiful, loved, and thriving. Sorry for it being so short and sweet, but life has been kicking my ass between sleep regression, lawyer meetings, court, work, and my older two's extracurricular activities. Love you guys. Thank you for being here over a year later. I hope everyone is doing well. OP adds trigger warnings on this one of death and drug use. Potentially death from drug use, I'm guessing. If you want to skip this part of the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. It says, hey guys, I have some news. I'm not entirely sure how to say it, so I'm just going to say it. Jess was found deceased in her apartment from a drug overdose at the end of July. To say it was a shock would be an understatement of the century. Jess was the kind of girl who never touched a drug in her life. Even back in the day when I would partake in smoking weed from time to time, she'd pick a fight with me about it. A part of me is devastated. She was my best friend and we went through so much together. That's so much history. She wrote me a letter. I'm not going to go into every single detail about it, but I will highlight one main part of it. She told me she saw I was trapped in an unhappy, loveless marriage and she wanted to help me get out of it. She didn't know what to do, so one night when she started doing drugs, she decided to get rid of Tyler the only way she knew how, was by sleeping with him. From there, things spiraled and she fell in love with him and became jealous because he would fill her head with pretty white lies and then go home to me. While I don't forgive her for what she did to me, I get it. I do. Jake has been blaming himself of sorts. Yes, he was pissed at her, but he didn't want her dead. None of us did. He's been having a hard time with things, but in true Jake fashion, he's been shoving his grief to the side to be there for everyone else. He stayed with his parents for the first month after everything happened to take care of them, and then would come check on me at least twice a day. He still won't really talk about it, so I try to be there for him in every way possible without the use of words. Angie isn't doing well. She lost a child, and even though she cut her off, that's still her daughter and she still loves her. I've been stopping by the house once a day to check on her and bring her meals to ensure everyone is eating. Jake's dad, well, he's been handling it much better than I thought. Jess was always closer to him, but he told me maybe I'm a heartless bastard, but once I saw the woman she was becoming, I stopped thinking her as my daughter. I already grieved the loss of my daughter a long time ago. So there's that. Just to put it out there, nobody is blaming me. They made the choice to cut Jess out of their life of their own free will, and I made it clear to them when all of this first came out that I wouldn't blame them if they wanted to keep their relationship with their daughter/sister. Angie even made it a point to tell me it's not my fault, and we hugged and cried together. Not sure if she did it on purpose or if she had letters for everyone as backup in case she happened to overdose, but the letters weren't out in the open by her body. They were tucked away in a drawer. To end this update, I just want to make it clear that though I had a lot of hate in my heart for Jess, but there was also a lot of love there too. She hurt me and betrayed me, but had she not done that, I would still be stuck married to a man I felt indifference towards and would not be as happy as I am. She did it in a fucked up way, but in a sense she did free me from my shackles. I will always love her, and this loss is one that will stay with me for the rest of my life. So OP adds a second part update to that post and says, "Hey guys, I know the last post was heavy, so if you need someone to talk to, please feel free to reach out. I understand stuff like that leaves its mark. Here's to a more cheerful update. Tyler is still missing in action from the kid's life, who hasn't reached out, and I'm not chasing after him to be involved with his kids. They deserve more from their dad. The kids are doing just wonderful. They've really taken to Jake. Even the baby calls him Dada, and once he and I had a long talk about it, I've decided that if the kids want to call him Dad, I won't intervene. My oldest made the transition from Uncle Jake to Dad. My middle child still calls him Uncle Jake, but that's completely fine with me. How they want to pursue that relationship, I will let them. Jake actually started coaching their indoor soccer league, and they love having him there. The house just has this sense of peace now, and all of them are just so happy that it makes my heart so full. I did have a conversation with them about Aunt Jess being in heaven with Papa, and they took it well, probably because they've hardly seen her in the last year. Tyler's parents have still been just as involved and are actually really close to Jake's parents. They've all been so wonderful that sometimes I feel like I'm dreaming. Angie, and I think the fake name I assigned Angie's husband was Bob, please bear with me if I'm wrong, Bob have retreated a little from the kids' life to deal with their grief, which I completely understand. They do still see the kids at least once a week, and Angie mentioned it helps her, spending time with them. Roughly 2 weeks after Jess passed away, Jake asked me to marry him. I told him I wasn't saying no, but I wanted him to sit with this a little longer and make sure this was something he actually wanted, and he wasn't making a hasty decision in the midst of grief. A month later, after the dust had started to settle and things were slowly falling back into our routines, he asked me again. He had this whole speech about how he's wanted this for as long as he could remember, and even mentioned how when we were kids he would say he would marry me when we grew up. It's true, he did say that to me when I was like 5, so I said yes. We're having a long engagement. I don't want to jump right back into marriage, so we're taking our time and haven't even started wedding planning yet. Maybe come 2025 we'll start the plans. To be totally honest though, we've just been debating on an elopement. Something small with just his parents and the kids. Who knows though? We have time to figure it out. Life has been a whirlwind full of ups and downs, but I'm so lucky to have so many wonderful people who love me and my kids. As always, thank you for being here with me throughout this journey. Love you guys. Until next time. Someone asks OP how Angie and Bob have taken the engagement, and OP says Angie is very thrilled. She's actually been doing some wedding planning and been letting her do her own thing. I think it's keeping her busy. When we told Angie and Bob, Angie actually started crying. She said that her and my mum used to joke about us growing up and getting married, and they were thrilled about the idea of them becoming actually related by marriage. Bob is happy because he knows Jake is a good man who would, in his words, take care of you and the kids. And if he did anything to hurt me, all I needed to do was call him and he'd put the fear of God into Jake. Lol. Someone asks if it's been long enough for Tyler to be charged with abandonment yet, and Opie says yes. I actually already filed abandonment charges against him. The way my lawyer explained this to me, forgive me if I butchered the explanation, but this is how I interpreted it, is that essentially filing abandonment charges doesn't really mean much in my state. just that he'd have to take me to court if he ever decided to see his kids again. However, if I were to get married and my spouse wanted to adopt the children, having that abandonment case against him would help immensely in my favor if he decided he wanted to fight the adoption. So I filed it as a just-in-case scenario, like if my kids ever decide they wanted to be adopted by Jake. However, that conversation won't be happening for a while until I'm sure they understand what being adopted by Jake truly means. Someone asked, does Tyler's parents see his other child? And Opie says, I don't believe so, no. They would if Tyler allowed it, and the only way Tyler would allow it is if they severed all contact with me, and they've made it abundantly clear that they won't do that since Tyler won't step up and be a dad to the children he already has. To be really honest with you, I'm not even sure if she's had the baby yet. It's quite possible she's still pregnant. I'm basically in the dark on all things concerning him. They both have myself, Jake, Angie, and Bob, and his parents blocked on everything. Any form of social media, phone numbers, everything. If he wants to pretend that our kids don't exist, I'm not going to remind him that they do. They deserve better. And that was Opie's last post so far, and what an absolute saga. And just the way Opie speaks is such a loving, lovely person with everything that they've been through with their father at the beginning and dealing with the cheating at the same time. Incredibly strong person. And all I can do on the end of this is just admire OP's strength throughout this, and I really wish the best for both OP and Jake and for the children at the same time. I wish them everything for the future. As I was reading it, I've got to tell you, I had to stop a couple of times because those onion ninjas were lurking around, had me in absolute bits. And just another shout out to OP's support system at the same time, all those parents that rallied around her. It's lovely. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the story, your love, your support, your time, your love towards the OP as well. Always hugely appreciated. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.